What's up, guys? I'm Taco, and today I'm going to be showing you how to do the two-door seat hinge swap to your Jeep XJ. So follow along, and I'll show you guys how to do it. So these are going to be the tools required for the job. Right here, we have a ratcheting wrench, we have a swivel, we have an 11/16 deep socket, T45 Torx, 13 millimeter, Phillips head screwdriver, pick, and then optional for the job, we have PB blaster and an impact. These will just make the job a little bit easier if you have them. So for the first thing, before I even start, I'm gonna go ahead and hit the one bolt that I can get to with the PB blaster, just to ensure that it doesn't get stuck that good. So this is the bolt right here. Look up right here, we got this bolt coming through. This is gonna be one of our seat bolts. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of PB blaster to help bring that bolt through. The more the better. For the next step, we're going to be in the back of the Jeep here, and we're going to be using our wrench with our 11/16 to loosen these back seat bolts. The left side is going to be the deep socket one. So we'll go ahead and loosen that up. That's pretty loose. And then we'll go ahead and switch. And we'll crack this one off, which is going to be our 13. Now, you can loosen these all the way with the wrench, but when I get mine loose, I'm going to be hitting them with the impact to take them off faster. All right, so moving things front side, we got our last two 13 millimeter bolts right here. We have one on the front right, and we have one on the front left. We're gonna go ahead and crack those loose and take them off with the impact. Get them loose enough for the impact to hit them. I know you guys can't really see what's going on right now, but it'll all make sense at the end. Just simply come over here, and zap those bad boys out. There's one. There's two. So the reason that I said in the tool requirement list that we needed a pick is because if you were on the driver's side, there's actually a wire connector that is for the seat belt. The pick is very easy to reach up in there and undo that clip to release the wire. However, since I'm demonstrating on the passenger side, we do not have a wire to disconnect. But when you go to do this on the driver's side, you might want to use a pick just to not be pulling on that wire so much. So now that we have all our bolts done and our wires disconnected on our seatbelt, we can go ahead and take out the seat, which is very easy. Just reach in here and pull her right on out. Now, since I'm in Texas and it's very hot outside, I'm going to go ahead and take this thing inside so we can work in the AC. Now that we have the Jeep seat inside where it's not 100 degrees outside, we can start removing the 3 screws that hold in this trim piece. Once we remove this trim piece, we'll have access to our seat hinge. The trim piece is held on with 3 Phillips head screws on the side, 2 of which, as you can see, are going to be longer than the other. And you want to make sure that you don't get these mixed up because you don't want to put the long one in the rear. So once you have these off, this trim will just essentially fall off. Just like that. Now that we have our cover off, it gives us direct access to 2 13 millimeter bolts that are going to be on the bottom of our seat hinge. I'm going to be using the 13 millimeter on the impact, but a simple ratcheting wrench will do just fine. There's one. There's 2. Then we'll swing it around. And because I don't have the adapter, we'll be undoing this other side here. This is our T45, and that's gonna be our other hinge that we do. So we'll just go ahead and loosen that one up. This bolt is a little bit longer, so it might take a minute. The other side does not have a bracket either. It's just a singular bolt that goes through. All right, now that we got that off, give that a few spins. There's our big T45 bolt. And you can just come over here, maybe put a foot down, and take off the seat. So now that we have the back of the seat off, if you come closer, we can remove the seat cover. The seat cover is going to be held on with these 3 plastic clips that is integrated into it. If you grab it and push it together, each one will kind of slowly pop off. It does take a little bit of elbow grease. See if I can get this other side one first. I think it's the middle one that's giving me trouble, but let's see. Hold on. We'll be right back. That took a little bit of fighting, but we got the clip off. This will open up like this, which gives us access to these 2 anchors right here. So you're going to have one right here, and you're going to have one right here. Once these slide out, it'll give us access to take off the cover, or at least to slide it back just a little bit. So these come out. Oh, there we go. And then, now that our seat cover is kind of opened up, we can begin the fun part, which is just kind of trying to work down about, I'd say about 8 inches. Because you have one bolt right here. That one's easy to get to. But then there's going to be another one about right up here. It is easy to get to, but it just requires sliding this cover down a little bit. So I just try to work it by pulling down on these side pieces. We're kind of pulling down on both sides on each time. Person helping makes this a heck of a lot easier. You can see it slowly coming down. I go ahead and do this side a little bit. I would say this is probably like the only somewhat involved part, is getting the seat cover to come down. I mean, this thing probably hasn't been taken off since it's been put on, so. All right, so a little bit more to go. Hold on. Also, side note, be careful not to rip your foam. This is old, and if I just barely even pull it, it's going to come apart. So be mindful of that when you're ripping on this real hard. So now that we got that, we'll get access to our 2 bolts. So now that we have access to our 2 bolts, I'm just going to take my 13 again on my impact, pull that foam to the side a little bit, and zap these bolts off. So we got 1. And then we got 2. That just comes out like that. And so now that you got your 2-door seat hinge, hopefully out of the junkyard, as you can see, you pull the lever up, seat goes forward. all you're going to do, line it up just how the other one just came out. Take your 2 bolts, get just a little bit of thread started. There we go. And the torque spec on these is going to be about that much. Make sure those are tight. And then we can start the process of pulling our seat cover down. And for this one, I flipped it over and just started doing exactly what I did to take it off. This does take a little bit of work. Like I said before, oops, be careful not to damage that foam. It's very fragile, and it can rip. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you don't care, but I mean, I don't want my foam ripped, so I'm being careful. Hike it up like a nice pair of pants. Make sure it's all tight. And this is probably going to be the hardest part of this whole thing. If you come closer, you can see on the inside of this, we have these 2 hoops. At the bottom, there is a metal bar that it links to keep the fabric pulled tight. So all I do is I put my metal bar down through this little sleeve that it goes to. You'll feel it hit that metal bar down there. And then the hard part is going to be getting it into this hoop. So if you use a second person for this, it makes it really easy. So that's what I'm going to do. And basically, you're going to have someone hold this top hoop in this metal piece here, this metal hoop, while someone else pushes the end of the bar back down into its little slot that it goes into. I know that might be a little confusing, but it's probably the hardest part of this whole job. I'll try to show when I get it in at the bottom. So now that we have the cover back on, I couldn't really show much on camera, but those long rods slide down into a slit and they loop onto these silver rings holding this inner piece on tight. There's one on each side. Sorry I couldn't get it on film much, but it's pretty easy and I'm sure you guys will get it. So now that we got that done, we'll go ahead and clip our seat cover back on. I think I should start with the middle one because that was the hardest one to take off. There we go, there's one. There's 2. And there's 3. Now we can just take that and get it ready to go back on. So now that we have the hinge back in place, there is a small circular inlet for this little black coil to go into. So we just set that in this little spot kind of, and then we'll take these 13 millimeter bolts that we had and kind of find their home. You can kind of see it and just get it one started. All right, and once you got them started, take your old reliable, just kind of tighten them a little bit, and then spin your seat around. Get that T45 Torx bolt. You're going to want to start lining that one up too. And get that one started as well. Now that I've got it started, I can begin tightening it back down. Two days later. No. Okay, so once that is tightened, which it is, I don't know the torque spec, but you'll feel it. That's about tight enough. Go ahead, spin this puppy around for the 5th time, and zap these down. All right. We can reassemble our plastic cover as well. It just kind of slides on. And your 2 long ones, remember, you got a long one that goes in through the front, a long one that goes through the middle, and then you got the short one which goes on the back. So I'm going to put those back in, and I'll meet you guys back in the Jeep. All right, now that we're back outside with the Jeep, the installation is going to be the exact opposite of the removal. Super simple. So we're just going to go ahead, pick up our seat, go in back first, turn it, set it down. Before we start tightening any up bolts, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that this pin, we have 1 bolt that needs to go on. As you can see, we got that 1 bolt on in the back. We can go ahead and start tightening up our bolts in the front. Slide the seat back to give yourself a little room. And we'll start putting in these bolts hand tight. All right, now that we have those bolts hand tight, we're gonna go ahead and slide the seat up, move to the back. We're gonna go ahead and put on our 1 bolt on the left side. And there we go, simple as that. That bolt's already on. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put on our back right bolt. Both of these bolts are just going right in for me. So now that we got those bolts in, I'll go ahead and zap the front ones down with the impact. There's 1. There's 2. Slide the seat forward. There's 3. Last but not least, there's 4. Now, we have one last step to do. For our last step, on the back side of our seat, for that little knob, we're going to press the fabric until we see that little lever popping out a little bit. And you don't want to cut on this line because that's kind of like what sews it together. So I just kind of press down a little bit. And with a razor maybe, you can kind of cut it down. And you're going to cut it open about, say about a good 2 inches. You can maybe get like a 2-door cover to where it already has this sewn in. But honestly, guys, for me, it's such a small little cut. I really don't mind. So once we kind of have that cut and we see that it works, if you got it from the junkyard, you can go ahead and take this piece right here, which is our little thumb piece. Click it on there like so. It'll just kind of pop on. Well, guys, now that we have the handle installed and we have a working 2-door hinge swap, that's going to be it for the video. You can see here I am in the back with the seats all the way pushed up and the seats folded. Let me know, drop a comment below if you think this is useless or useful. It's about how much room I got in the back of my 4-door. I don't know what I'll do with it, but we'll have to see. Maybe I'll see you guys in the next one.